Hey everyone, my name is Heelless, that's G-U-U-S, and just give me 1 second. Because yeah, you read it alright. Today I'm cutting the heels off of my old running shoes to see if I can still run in them. As a track athlete myself, I take a lot of pride in the fact that I am a 4-foot runner. And even though that might not be 100% true, I've noticed that especially when I get tired or when I start struggling with my injury, I've found that I do occasionally heel strike, but I want to be a 4-foot runner. So I figured, why not give it a try and cut off the heel of my shoe to see if I can force myself to just keep on running on that 4-foot. And this is not a new idea. I'm not some sort of engineer or entrepreneur right here. No, there is a company out there already called FBR, Faster and Better Runners, which makes heelless running shoes. Now, I don't have the kind of money at this moment to go out and buy a running shoe, especially for testing. So I figured I would go and do it myself. Now, FBR is created by a guy named Frank Beneto. So he read the book that is called Running with Kenyans. So that book describes how Kenyans actually run on their 4-foot, even over longer distances, and how they run, of course, really fast doing so. And Frank just wanted to try this himself. So at some point he took his running shoes, cut his heel off, really liked it, and then he got in contact with a bunch of professionals, both shoemakers as well as medical professionals. And through ranges of testing and stuff like that, they have shown that running on your 4-foot and running with the shoes that Frank, together with his team now, have designed is actually better for you and can prevent injuries quite a lot. What I see as a massive advantage of taking out the heel of a running shoe is that you can lose so much weight. Because of course the foam in a running shoe, the midsole, so to say, is the heaviest part of a running shoe. So if we can get rid of this main part of the foam, because of course there's the most foam in the heel, that means we can easily lose a couple of grams. So that's something that excites me a lot actually about heelless running shoes. We're gonna strike from this point forward so we can take out everything right here. Now I will do it in 2 different ways because I have 2 shoes and I just wanted to experiment a little bit. So what we will do is on this first one, we will, let's see that this is in frame, there we go. We will take out like half of it, something like that. I'm seeing that I'm taking out quite a lot already, so I will go back a little bit. And then on the second shoe, we'll go a little more extreme. Let's put them side by side real quick so that I can take over the line. Let's just take out the entire heel. So if I now put them side by side, you're gonna be able to see what I mean right there. So on this one, we're not gonna cut out as much as on this one. I'm expecting this one to definitely be successful when it comes to running, especially because it's gonna force you to run on that 4-foot. This one might be a bit more annoying because you don't really have any structure below your heel anymore, and that might still be necessary, but there's only one way to find out, of course, and that is to start cutting at them. So I have to thank Daniel. Daniel is one of my neighbors and he borrowed or lent me, I should say, this thing. It is like a precision saw, a multi-tool, it says. So let's go and get that out, and it comes with these blades right here. So that's what we're gonna use to cut out the midsoles of these shoes. It's kind of crazy that I'm actually doing this, but I'm really excited about it, and I'm excited to see what is actually gonna happen. But I'm gonna quickly go and get a scale so that I can actually weigh these shoes, because I want to see how much weight we can shed while still having them be functional. Okay, let's check. One running shoe of these is 266 grams, which is already a lot lighter than FBR's, at least the first iteration of their running shoes, which weighed 310 grams. But of course, that's much more planned and stuff. I'm not shitting on them in any sort of way, because it is a very new product and a very exciting product that they are producing. And we're just gonna try and reproduce it right here in our own way. I got out the multi-tool already. I set it up and it's very loud. But it should be all right. So let's just start cutting at it. Not much seems to be happening. Maybe a regular bread knife is necessary to start off, and then we'll see what happens then. Let's see. I'm definitely cutting in more than with the previous one already. So I guess it's the rubber that's the biggest struggle, because wow. Yeah, you can see right there. I'm already quite deep into it, so that's good. Okay. Let's just keep going. This piece of plastic is gonna cause some issues. I think for this cut, it's not as big of a problem. As you can see, I've managed to cut it out pretty well. But of course, on our deeper cut, it's gonna be more of an issue. So we'll see what happens there. But I am happy with this one, so I'm gonna put this one to the side and move on to our more extreme examples, so to say. It's ripping again right there, and I think I've managed to do something similar right here. Yeah, let's see if we can just kind of twist and rip. No, it's that piece of plastic right here. Yes, there we go, straight through the plastic. So the multi-tool, oh hello, the multi-tool did come in handy in the end. Perfect. All right, at least I didn't borrow that for no reason. Thank you, Daniel. As a thank you, here's a completely random sound effect for you. Perfect. Would you look at that? That's absolutely crazy. Right there. So this is super weak, as you can see right now. But in the best case scenario, we're not gonna use this heel. We're just gonna be landing right here. And that should still do the job. Maybe. We'll see. The shoes we have right now, of course, don't have a heel. What is gonna happen is it's gonna force us to run on the forefoot, and that's gonna, in the long term, make sure that we have very strong ankles and Achilles and calves, of course, that are gonna prevent injuries in the long run. So instead of rolling, which in case you really heel strike, that's what you're doing, right? You're just rolling along on the pavement or on the surface you're running on. But in this case, you're not really rolling anymore, you're springing more. You're loading, you're landing on the midfoot or forefoot, you're charging those muscles that you're training, and then you're just launching off again without even hitting the pavement or surface with your heel. That's the intention of these shoes, of course. Let's have a look at the weight of this one. So it was 266 grams, as I was saying, and I wrote it down right here as well. I don't know if you can see that. 266 right there. Put it on the scale, 234. And then I can only imagine what this one has. Like, it already feels so much lighter than this one, and even more than, I guess, this entire package together, because this is the back heel of this shoe. So let's have a look. What do you weigh? 212 grams. So I also see I managed to cut myself, which was of course inevitable. So we lost 32 grams on the half-heeled one and 54 grams on the shoe that now has no heel. But of course, this doesn't mean anything if we can't run in them. So I'm gonna go and change, and then let's see what an experience it is to run in a shoe without a heel. This is such a funny feeling, like even just walking into the park now where I'll do my little lap, I can feel that my body is just forcing me to walk on my toes much more, or on my forefoot at least, just because I don't have heels. So I'm very curious what this is going to be like when I'm actually running. So let's just go, right? Frank, you're really onto something here. And I love how simple this idea is. If you don't have a heel, you can't heel strike. It is that simple. And if you're forced to strike on your forefoot without your heel touching the ground, your muscles are gonna be much more activated, the muscles I was talking about around the heel and the ankle, and you're gonna make them stronger much quicker than if you would heel strike and you wouldn't activate those muscles. So it's really smart and really simple. And I could definitely feel it going out there. I mean, I ran what, a kilometer maybe, but I could definitely feel that the muscles around my ankle and the calf, for instance, were activated a lot more. But at the same time, it felt very responsive and very fast. Talking about the shoes that I created specifically, I honestly didn't feel much of a difference between the one that doesn't have a heel at all and the one with half a heel. So I would always go for the one that doesn't have a heel at all, simply because it is more lightweight. I think there's a lot of potential there for potential racing shoes and stuff like that. So I would always go for this one. Something that I did notice though, from time to time, if my heel would drop a little bit more, is that I would feel the cutoff point right here. It kind of served as a reminder to me, to be honest, like, hey, get back on that forefoot, you know, like you're slacking a little bit in the heel. And I am assuming that FBR, the company that makes the heelless shoes, has paid attention to this, and in their model, it's not as obvious that there's a cutoff right there. So overall, this was a really fun experience, and I'm really glad that I did do it. I do have some questions, especially when it comes to running downhill. I think in those scenarios, these shoes might not work as well, because downhill, you do more often switch over to rolling, especially if it's a steep downhill. Of course, uphill, I did run a little bit of uphill and downhill, and uphill you do tend to get on that toe, especially if it's a bit of a steeper hill. So there I didn't notice any big issues at all. As I already said, I don't have the money right now to go and invest in a pair of FBR shoes, especially for the purpose of testing. But if you are somebody who works at FBR and you want to send me a pair of shoes, I would love to make videos on them, review them, and just have fun with them, have a look at what they actually feel like and what the technology that you are developing actually does. Then there's a final little thought that I had. If a normal running shoe is a positive drop shoe, so you have more foam in the heel than in the forefoot, and then you have zero drop shoes like Ultras, for instance, which have the same amount of foam in the heel as in the forefoot, then FBRs would be negative drop shoes because you have more foam in the forefoot than you do in the heel. I think it's a very interesting concept. So overall, let's answer the question of this video. Is it possible to run in negative drop shoes? And honestly, the answer is 100% yes. And it might even be good for you. And that's really everything for this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the concept of heelless shoes. I am very curious to see your perspective on this, and maybe try it out yourself. Took me an afternoon, but I learned a lot, and I thought it was a really interesting experience. While you're down there leaving your comments, don't forget to also leave a like in case you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in more videos like this about running, about technology actually, or ideally a combination of the two, then also be sure to check out my channel and stick around by subscribing to it as well. But thank you so much for watching. You just keep on rolling, and then you'll see me again in the next one. Bye bye.